Taeho Kim wiped sweat from his forehead as he fixed another broken air filter on level 42 of the Nexus. The massive space station hung like a shining metal flower among the stars, home to the Galactic Council and representatives from over 400 alien species. Humans were the newest members, having only discovered faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. "Taeho, are you done yet? We need to get to the diplomatic wing in 20 minutes, called Juri Park, his best friend. She wore the blue uniform of the xenobiology department, much cleaner than his oil-stained maintenance coveralls. "Almost. This alien technology still gives me trouble," he said, tightening the last bolt. At 32, Taeho was known for two things: fixing almost anything mechanical and making jokes at the wrong time. Neither quality was particularly valued by the alien diplomats he worked around. "The annual arena tournament starts soon. The whole station is buzzing about it," Juri said, helping him collect his tools. "You should see the fighting rings they're building in the central hub." Taeho shrugged. "Why should I care? It's not like humans ever compete." "Because we're serving drinks at the pre-tournament party tonight. The human ambassador specifically requested you." "Me? Why?" "Because you're tall for a Korean and can reach the high shelves," she laughed. "Now hurry up." 2 hours later, Taeho stood uncomfortably in a pressed uniform, carrying a tray of colorful drinks through a room filled with the galaxy's elite. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors mingled and chatted. Some floated above the ground. Others had multiple limbs or eyes that moved independently. Ambassador Dahl, a tall alien with purple tentacles and 3 blinking eyes, stood in the center of a group. His species, the Viridians, had been spacefaring for 50,000 years and never let anyone forget it. "Humans," Dahl was saying loudly as Taeho approached with drinks, "are an amusing addition to the council. So enthusiastic, like little children discovering the universe for the first time." The aliens around him made various sounds that Taeho recognized as laughter, but physically they are quite disappointing. No natural armor, no extra limbs, poor night vision, and absolutely no chance in the arena. That's why they don't even try to compete. Taeho felt his face grow hot. He'd heard these insults before, but they still stung. "Drink, Ambassador?" he asked, forcing a polite smile. Ambassador Dahl took a glass without looking at him. "Ah, the servant species arrives with refreshments. Perfect timing." "We prefer maintenance engineers, sir," Taeho said, before he could stop himself. The room grew quiet. Ambassador Dahl slowly turned all 3 eyes toward him. "Did this human just correct me?" he asked, voice dangerously soft. Juri appeared at Taeho's side. "He meant no disrespect, Ambassador. Taeho, perhaps the guests by the window need drinks?" "But," Ambassador Dahl raised a tentacle. "No, let him speak. I'm curious what wisdom this engineer nut might share." Taeho knew he should walk away. Instead, he said, "I only meant that humans have many skills beyond serving drinks." "Such as?" Dahl's voice dripped with mockery. "Adaptability, creativity. We solve problems in ways your species might not consider." The ambassador's skin darkened to deep purple, a sign of anger in Viridians. "Interesting theory. Perhaps you should enter the arena and demonstrate these superior human qualities." The aliens around them burst into laughter again, louder this time. A large alien with thick, green skin and forearms slapped Taeho on the back, nearly knocking him over. "Yes, the human should enter the arena. What a wonderful joke that would be." Taeho struggled to keep his tray balanced. "I didn't mean, are you withdrawing your claim about human abilities?" Ambassador Dahl asked, eyes blinking in sequence. Taeho looked around the room. Dozens of alien faces stared at him with amusement or contempt. He spotted the human ambassador across the room looking horrified. "No," Taeho said firmly. "I stand by what I said." "Excellent," the 4-armed alien roared, clearly drunk on whatever was in the blue bottles being passed around. "I, General Krax of the Bortelian Empire, officially dare you to enter the Galactic Arena." The room erupted in sounds of shock and amusement. Ambassador Dahl's tentacles curled in pleasure. "A human in the arena. How entertaining," he said. though I doubt your superiors will allow it. Later that night, Taeho paced in his small quarters while Juri sat on his bed. I made a complete fool of myself, he groaned. The human ambassador looked ready to launch me into space. Actually, Juri said, you stood up for our entire species. It was brave. It was stupid. Now I'm the joke of the station. Juri tilted her head. Unless what? Unless you actually do it. Taeho stopped pacing. Enter the arena. Are you crazy? Those aliens have trained their whole lives for this. Some of them have poison spikes and can breathe underwater. And humans have qualities they don't, she insisted. You're in great shape from climbing all over the station. You solve complex problems every day. Fixing air filters isn't the same as fighting alien champions. Maybe not, she admitted. But wouldn't it be satisfying to see Ambassador Dahl's face when you show up as an official contestant? Despite himself, Taeho smiled at the image. It would. The next morning, before he could change his mind, Taeho submitted his application to the arena. He expected it to be rejected immediately. To his shock, he received a response within an hour. Application accepted under Rule 5.3.7. All sentient beings may test their worth in the crucible of champions. Welcome, human Taeho Kim. Report to arena processing at 0800 hours tomorrow. The tray message was signed Arbiter Nex, Arena Administrator. Taeho stared at his screen in disbelief. What had he done? Within 2 hours, he was summoned to the human ambassador's office. Ambassador Jin sat behind his desk, face grim. Do you understand what you've done, Engineer Kim? He asked. You've created a diplomatic incident. I can withdraw my application. Taeho offered quickly. No, you cannot, said a new voice. A tall figure entered the room. It had 6 limbs, metallic gray skin, and a face that reminded Taeho of an ancient statue, ageless and severe. I am Arbiter Nex. Taeho and the ambassador stood immediately. Once accepted, no contestant may withdraw except through death or severe injury. Nex continued. It is the law of the arena, unchanged for 12,000 years. But he has no training, Ambassador Jin protested. This will embarrass humanity. That is not my concern, Nex said flatly. The human has been accepted, he will compete. After Nex left, Ambassador Jin glared at Taeho. We'll provide minimal support because we must. But understand this. When you fail, you do so as an individual, not as a representative of Earth. That evening, Juri found Taeho in the station's observation deck staring out at the stars. I heard what happened, she said softly. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have encouraged you. Taeho shook his head. It's not your fault, my big mouth got me into this. What will you do now? He turned to her, his face set with determination. The only thing I can do. Try not to die too quickly. On the main screen above them, promotional images for the arena flashed by. Taeho froze when he saw footage from last year's competition. A 6-legged champion tore its opponent in half while crowds cheered. On second thought, he whispered, dying quickly might not be so bad. Juri squeezed his arm. Don't talk like that. I've been researching past tournaments. There are always preliminary events before the combat rounds. If you can showcase human intelligence and adaptability, then what? I delay the inevitable? No, she said firmly. You change how the galaxy sees humans. Maybe that's worth the risk. Taeho looked back at the stars, thinking of Earth so far away. One human against the galaxy's elite warriors. It had started as a joke, but no one was laughing now. I report for processing tomorrow, he said quietly. I'll be there, Juri promised. Whatever happens, you won't face it alone. As they watched, another image appeared on the main screen. Taeho's station ID photo with the words, human contestant, below it. Several aliens passing by pointed and made their species equivalent of laughter. The joke had begun, but Taeho Kim had no intention of remaining the punchline. The processing center for arena contestants looked like a mix between a medical clinic and a prison. Tae-ho stood in line behind aliens twice his size, feeling smaller with each passing minute. A scanner hummed as it moved over his body. "Human," said the technician, a being with translucent skin through which Tae-ho could see multiple organs pulsing. "Your species has never competed before." "Fascinating." "Lucky me," Tae-ho muttered. "First human to die in the arena." The technician blinked all four of its eyes. "Death is only one possible outcome, though in your case the probability is high. Thanks for the encouragement." After processing, Tae-ho was led to a large training area where other contestants prepared. Some lifted weights that would crush a human. Others practiced combat moves that blurred with speed. A tall figure approached, a human in a military uniform. His name tag read Lee. "Engineer Kim," he said stiffly. "I'm Captain Giseok. Lee, the ambassador assigned me to prepare you." "You're my trainer?" Tae-ho asked. "For what it's worth," Captain Lee replied. "I've studied alien combat techniques for 5 years, but I've never seen a human actually fight in the arena. So I'm your lab rat. You're a diplomatic problem I've been ordered to minimize," Lee said bluntly. "Let's see what you can do." For the next 3 hours, Captain Lee put Tae-ho through physical tests. By the end, Tae-ho lay on the mat, gasping for breath. "Your strength is below average for the arena," Lee said, making notes. "Endurance slightly better. Reflex is good, but not exceptional." "So I'm doomed," Tae-ho wheezed. "I didn't say that," Lee replied. "You adapted quickly to unfamiliar exercises. That's rare among contestants. Most species rely on their natural abilities." Before Tae-ho could respond, a shadow fell across them. He looked up to see a massive four-armed alien with red-gold scales and a crown-like crest. The alien held a weapon that looked like a cross between a sword and a whip. "This is the human contestant?" the alien said in a deep voice. "It looks so soft. No claws, no armor." Captain Lee stood straighter. "This is Tae-ho Kim of Earth." The alien made a sound like rocks grinding together. Laughter. "I am Sal, 3-time champion of the arena. I will make your death quick, human, a courtesy to the newest species." After Sal left, Tae-ho sat up. "That was Sal? The champion?" "Yes," Lee said grimly. "And he just marked you as his prey." Later that day, Tae-ho met Ju-ri in the station's cafeteria. A third human joined them, a woman with short black hair and quick eyes. "This is Mina Han," Ju-ri said. "She works in communications." "And now I'm your unofficial promoter," Mina said, sliding a tablet across the table. "Look." On the screen, Tae-ho saw himself. Someone had recorded his conversation with Ambassador Dahl and his encounter with Sal. The videos had spread across the human networks. "People are talking about you," Mina said. "Most think you're crazy, but they're still rooting for you." "Great," Tae-ho said. "More pressure." "The first event has been announced," Ju-ri cut in. "Underwater combat." Tae-ho choked on his drink. "Underwater? I can barely swim." "It gets worse," Captain Lee said, appearing at their table. "The contest is in a maze filled with alien sea creatures. You need to fight off predators while navigating to the center. The Krell and Aquarians will have a huge advantage," Ju-ri said. "They're naturally aquatic." Tae-ho put his head in his hands. "I should write my will." "Not yet," Ju-ri said. "I've been studying human diving reflexes. Our species has something called the mammalian dive response. When our faces touch cold water, our heart rate slows and blood shifts to vital organs. We can hold our breath longer than many think." "That won't help me fight underwater," Tae-ho said. "No, but it might help you survive long enough to reach air pockets in the maze," she replied. "And I found something else. A breathing liquid that some deep space workers use." "Liquid breathing?" Lee looked interested. "That's not against the rules. Contestants can use technology natural to their species." For the next week, Tae-ho trained harder than ever before. Captain Lee taught him underwater fighting techniques. Juri helped him practice with the breathing liquid, which felt like drowning at first but allowed him to stay underwater for hours. During a break in training, Taeho noticed a small alien watching him. It had pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. It was half Taeho's size. "Can I help you?" Taeho asked. "You are the human," the alien said in a musical voice. "I am Yun of the Naori. We are also considered inadequate by the larger species." "Nice to meet another underdog." Taeho smiled. "Underdog?" Yun tilted its head. "It means someone not expected to win." "Ah, yes. We are underdogs together." Yun stepped closer. "Be careful of the third tunnel in the water maze. That is where Sal and his allies will wait to eliminate weaker contestants early." "Why are you helping me?" Yun's large eyes blinked slowly. "Because change is needed in the arena. The same species win year after year. Perhaps an underdog might surprise them." The day of the first contest arrived. The arena's central dome had been transformed into a massive water tank with transparent walls so spectators could watch. Inside was a complex maze with tunnels and chambers. Taeho stood on the diving platform in his specially designed wetsuit. Around him, 40 other contestants prepared. Sal stood nearby with 2 allies, all 3 glaring at Taeho. "Contestants!" boomed Arbiter Nex's voice. "The rules are simple. Reach the center of the maze to qualify for the next round. Use any natural abilities or species-appropriate technology. Killing is permitted but not required." Taeho swallowed hard. The breathing liquid filled his mask, triggering his gag reflex before his body adjusted. It felt wrong but worked. "Begin!" shouted Nex. Taeho dove into the water alongside the other contestants. The liquid in his mask allowed him to breathe, but moving underwater was still difficult. Many aliens shot past him with natural swimming abilities. Following Yun's warning, Taeho avoided the third tunnel, taking a longer route. Behind him, he heard muffled sounds of combat. A body floated past, an alien already eliminated. The maze grew darker as Taeho went deeper. Strange creatures lurked in the corners, some part of the challenge, others contestants using camouflage. Twice, Taeho narrowly escaped ambushes. An hour into the contest, Taeho heard thrashing ahead. He cautiously approached to find Yun trapped by a net-like creature that had wrapped around the small alien's legs. Without thinking, Taeho pulled out his utility knife and cut through the tendrils. Yun nodded in thanks and pointed to a narrow passage Taeho hadn't noticed. They swam through together. In a large chamber, they encountered Sal and 1 ally. The champion had already defeated several contestants. Their markers floated in the water around him. "The human survives," Sal said, his voice distorted but understandable, underwater. "Not for long." Taeho looked for an escape, but Sal moved to block him. The champion was faster in water than Taeho expected. A third of the way through the contest and Taeho was trapped. Then he remembered what Juri had said about human diving reflexes. An idea formed. Taeho removed his breathing mask, exposing himself to the water. Immediately, his body's dive response kicked in. His heart slowed. Time seemed to stretch. Sal, confused by this seemingly suicidal move, hesitated. In that moment, Taeho pushed off the wall with all his strength, shooting past the champion through a narrow gap. Water filled his lungs as the breathing liquid washed away. Pain exploded in his chest. His vision tunneled. Just as consciousness began to fade, his hand found the breathing mask floating nearby. He pulled it back on, sucking in the liquid desperately. Through blurry eyes, Taeho saw a glowing marker. The center of the maze was close. With the last of his strength, he pushed forward. When Taeho woke, he lay on a medical table. Juri stood beside him, beaming. "You did it," she said. "You survived the first contest." "How?" "Many made it," he croaked, throat raw from the breathing. "Liquid. 28 of 40 contestants reached the center," she said. "You came in 20th. Not last. Not even close to last." Taeho felt a strange pride. "The human crowds are going wild," Mina said, rushing in with her tablet. No one expected you to survive. Captain Lee stood at the foot of the bed, arms crossed but with a hint of respect in his eyes. You did, adequately. We start training. For the second contest tomorrow. As his friends left, Yoon appeared briefly at the door. Well done, underdog, the small alien said with what might have been a smile. Perhaps we will change things after all. Outside in the corridor, Tae-ho heard an alien voice say, "The human survived underwater combat. How unexpected." Another voice replied, "A fluke. He won't last the next round." Tae-ho smiled despite his exhaustion. They still thought him a joke. Good. Being underestimated might be his greatest advantage. News of Tae-ho's survival spread quickly through the Nexus. Aliens who had ignored him now watched with curious eyes as he walked the corridors. Some even nodded in recognition. "You're becoming famous," Juri said as they entered the training area. "The odds against you have dropped from 1,000 to 1 to just 200 to 1. Still terrible odds," Tae-ho replied. "Better than before," Captain Lee said, joining them. "And we have a new ally." A small older man with silver hair and round glasses stepped forward. "Engineer Kim, I am Dr. Seo. The human ambassador asked me to assist with your training." "The ambassador?" Tae-ho was surprised. "I thought he wanted nothing to do with me." "Your performance changed his mind," Lee explained. 20 out of 40 is respectable. Some important aliens have taken notice. Dr. Seo handed Tae-ho a tablet. "The second challenge has been announced. It will test mental abilities, not physical ones." Tae-ho read the screen, then looked up in confusion. "Alien mathematics and spatial reasoning? I'm not a scientist." "That's why I'm here," Dr. Seo said calmly. "I've studied alien mathematical systems for 20 years. We have 1 week to prepare you." For the next 7 days, Tae-ho's brain hurt more than his body ever had. Dr. Seo drilled him in strange number systems, multi-dimensional geometry, and problem-solving techniques from a dozen alien cultures. "I can't do this," Tae-ho groaned after failing another practice test. "Some of these species have been doing advanced math for thousands of years." "True," Dr. Seo agreed, "but humans have one advantage they don't." "What's that?" "Pattern recognition. Our brains evolved to spot patterns in chaos. Many alien species think differently. So what? They're still smarter than me." "Intelligence takes many forms," Dr. Seo replied. "You don't need to solve problems their way. Find human solutions." The day before the second contest, a tall, well-dressed man approached Tae-ho in the cafeteria. Tae-ho recognized him immediately. "Junho," he said stiffly. "What brings my brother to the lower decks?" Junho Kim sat down across from him. Though only 2 years older, he seemed from a different world in his diplomatic uniform. "The human government is watching your progress," Junho said. "Your survival was unexpected. Sorry to disappoint you by not dying." Junho's face tightened. "That's not fair, Tae-ho. I've always supported you." "By never visiting? By pretending we're not related when your diplomat friends are around?" "I'm here now," Junho said quietly. "And I have information. Some powerful aliens don't like that a human has made it this far. They may try to sabotage you." "Why tell me this?" "Because you're my brother." Junho stood up. "Be careful tomorrow." The mental challenge took place in a large circular room. 28 contestants sat at stations arranged in a circle. Floating screens displayed problems that changed every few minutes. Tae-ho took his place, stomach tight with nerves. Across the room, Sal sat confidently. The champion caught Tae-ho's eye and drew a finger across his throat. "Contestants," Arbiter Nex announced. "You have 3 hours to solve as many problems as possible. The 10 with the lowest scores will be eliminated." The screens lit up with the first problem. Tae-ho stared at strange symbols that seemed to shift and change. Panic rose in his chest. Then he remembered Dr. Seo's words. Find human solutions. Instead of approaching the problem the way an alien would, Tae-ho looked for patterns. He began to see connections between the symbols, relationships he could understand. Hours passed. Sweat soaked Tae-ho's shirt as he worked. Some problems he couldn't solve at all. Others came to him in flashes of insight. When the final bell rang, Tejo had no idea how he'd done. He looked around the room. Many aliens seemed confident. Others looked worried. The results, Arbiter Nex announced, displaying a large scoreboard. Tejo's heart pounded as he searched for his name. There, halfway down the list, Tejo Kim, human, position 6, 6th place. Out of 28 competitors. Tejo couldn't believe it. Impossible, shouted Sal, rising from his seat. The human cheated. All stations were monitored, Nex replied coldly. No cheating occurred. The human solved problems using unique methods. Different, but effective. Later, in a small celebration with his friends, Tejo still couldn't believe it. 6th place, Mina said, eyes wide. Do you know what this means? You're now a favorite among human viewers. Every colony is talking about you. Dr. Seo was right, Juri said. Your approach to the problems confused the judges at first. They had to review your work 3 times before awarding your score. Captain Lee raised his glass. You've earned some respect, Engineer Kim, but the hardest challenges are still ahead. As if summoned by his words, a message appeared on all screens. 3rd challenge, survival on Death World 6. Contestants will endure 72 hours on an engineered planet with minimal equipment. The room fell silent. Death World 6? Tejo asked. What does that mean? It means, Lee said grimly, that they're done underestimating you. Death World 6 is designed to kill. The next day, Tejo was surprised to receive a visitor, High Counselor Vrex, head of the Galactic Council. The tall gray-skinned alien studied Tejo with 6 golden eyes. Human Tejo Kim, Vrex said. You have surprised many in the council. Thank you, Counselor, Tejo replied nervously. Not all are pleased by your success. Some fear what it means if humans advance faster than expected. We just want to be respected, Tejo said. Respect must be earned. Vrex stepped closer. There is an ancient prophecy about a species that adapts quickly, bringing great change to the galactic order. Some believe humans may be that species. I'm just trying to survive the arena. Perhaps. But you no longer compete only for yourself. Vrex turned to leave. The eyes of the galaxy watch you now, human Tejo Kim. That night, as Tejo prepared for bed, his door chimed. It was Yun, the small blue alien who had helped him in the water maze. I came to warn you, Yun said urgently. Sal has been given special equipment for the Death World Challenge. Technology not available to other contestants. That's against the rules, Tejo said. Rules can be bent for those with powerful sponsors, Yun replied. Be careful, friend. Human. The zone they have assigned you contains the most dangers. After Yun left, Tejo couldn't sleep. His place in the competition had started as a joke, a dare fueled by wounded pride. Now it had become something more important. He represented all humans in the eyes of the galaxy. The next morning, as Tejo prepared for final training, Juri burst into his room. I found something, she said, holding up a test tube with blue liquid. I've been analyzing samples from the competitors. Sal is using banned stimulants, drugs that enhance strength and speed. We need to report this, Tejo said. They took the evidence to Arbiter Nex, but the administrator barely looked at it. Insufficient proof, Nex said. Champion Sal has passed all official tests. But, Tejo began. The matter is closed, human. As they left Nex's office, Juri shook her head. The system is rigged. Sal has too many powerful backers. Then I'll just have to beat him anyway, Tejo said with more confidence than he felt. That afternoon, Captain Lee outlined the survival challenge. Death World 6 has zones designed to exploit the weaknesses of different species. Yours will have extreme temperature shifts, toxic gases, and predators that hunt by body heat. Sounds fun, Tejo said dryly. This isn't a joke anymore, Lee snapped. Half the remaining contestants could die in this challenge. The aliens want to put you in your place at the bottom. Or in a grave, Tejo said quietly. Lee's expression softened slightly. Remember your training. Human adaptability is your greatest weapon. Use it. As Taeho left the training area, he passed Ambassador Dahl in the corridor. The Viridian who had once mocked him now looked at him with open hatred. "Enjoy your brief moment of fame, human," Dahl said. "Soon the natural order will be restored." Taeho stood straighter. "Perhaps the natural order needs changing, Ambassador." That night, Taeho packed the small kit allowed for the survival challenge. A knife, water purifier, emergency blanket, and basic med kit. Not much against an entire planet designed to kill him. As he finished, Juri entered his room with a small metal disc. "What's this?" he asked. "Something I developed in the lab," she said. "It emits a pulse that confuses most predator species' senses. Not for long, but maybe enough to save your life." Taeho slipped it into his kit. "Thank you." "Come back alive," she said, hugging him tightly. "The joke's gone far enough." "It stopped being a joke when I survived the first challenge," Taeho replied. "Now I'm going to show them what humans can really do." The transport ship rumbled as it entered Deathworld 6's atmosphere. 18 contestants remained, strapped into separate compartments. Through a small window, Taeho saw a planet of harsh beauty, red mountains, blue forests, and vast yellow plains. "Contestants," came Arbiter Nex's voice. "You will be dropped in different zones. Each zone is designed to challenge specific weaknesses, survive 72 hours, and reach the extraction point to qualify for the final challenge." The ship dipped lower. Taeho's stomach lurched. "Human contestant," the pilot said. "Prepare for drop." The floor opened beneath him. Taeho fell through the air in a protective bubble. It slowed his descent but still hit the ground hard. The bubble popped, leaving Taeho alone in an alien landscape. Hot wind whipped his face. The sky above was orange, with 2 small suns. Around him stretched a rocky plain with strange, twisted plants. In the distance, dark clouds gathered. Taeho checked his equipment. Everything intact. A small screen on his wrist showed a map, with the extraction point, about 30 miles away. The counter began. 72 Kunk. 3 days, he muttered. "I can do this." The first challenge came within an hour. The temperature dropped suddenly, plunging from burning hot to freezing cold. Taeho's breath clouded before him as frost formed on the rocks. He remembered Captain Lee's advice. "Temperature changes will be your first test. The aliens think humans are weak against extreme conditions." Working quickly, Taeho gathered dry plants and started a small fire using his emergency kit. He built a simple shelter against a rock face, using his thermal blanket to reflect heat. As night fell, strange howls echoed across the plain. His shelter's temperature monitor warned, dropping below human survival levels. Taeho huddled closer to his fire. The cold bit through his clothes. His fingers turned blue. Frost formed on his eyebrows. Then he remembered Earth survival techniques. He dug a trench in the ground beneath his shelter and lay in it, covering himself with warm stones. From around his fire, the earth held heat better than air. Somehow he survived the night. Morning brought new dangers. The twin suns rose, turning the freezing plain into an oven. Toxic yellow gases seeped from cracks in the ground. Taeho tied a wet cloth over his mouth and nose and moved toward the extraction point. By midday, his water was half gone. His mouth felt like sand. Then he spotted movement in the distance, another contestant heading the same direction. As he drew closer, he recognized the blue skin. "Yun!" The small alien turned, surprised. "Human friend, you survive." They decided to travel together. Yun knew about the local plants, which ones stored water, which ones were poisonous. "My people evolved on a harsh world," Yun explained. "We learn young how to find water in dry places." With Yun's help, Taeho refilled his water container from thick-leaved plants. In return, he helped the smaller alien climb difficult rocky sections. That evening they made camp in a small cave. The temperature was dropping again. As they huddled near a small fire, Yun's communicator beeped. "Contest update," Yun said. 3 contestants already failed. 2 injured, 1. Yun paused. 1 dead. Who died? Tae-ho asked. A Palaxian. Their zone had gravity shifts. Fatal fall. Tae-ho fell silent. This was no longer a game or a joke. People were dying to prove themselves. On the second day, they encountered their first predator, a 6-legged creature with razor-sharp teeth and skin that changed color to match its surroundings. They spotted it only because Yun's species could see heat patterns. Don't move, Yun whispered. It hunts by movement. They stood frozen as the creature sniffed the air. Slowly, Tae-ho reached into his pocket for Juri's device. He pressed the button. A soft pulse emitted from the disc. The creature shook its head in confusion, then slunk away. Clever human technology, Yun said admiringly. Human friend, Yun said as they walked. Why did you enter the arena? Truly? Tae-ho thought about it. At first because of wounded pride. Now, I'm not sure. To prove humans belong here, I guess. My, people joined the council 500 years ago, Yun said. We are still treated as lesser beings. Small, weak, unimportant. I understand your fight. That night, a massive storm hit their camp. Lightning struck all around them as acid rain poured down, burning holes in their equipment. They huddled in their small cave, watching their survival gear slowly dissolve. The storm is not natural, Yun said. Each zone has programmed disasters to test contestants. By morning, half of Tae-ho's equipment was ruined. His water purifier was gone, his knife blade partially melted. The countdown on his wrist showed 24 hours remaining. We must move faster, Yun said. The extraction point is still far. As they crossed a narrow bridge over a deep ravine, Tae-ho felt the hairs on his neck rise. Something was watching them. From behind a rock stepped Sal and one of his allies, a tall insectoid being. Both wore equipment far superior to what Tae-ho and Yun carried. The human and its little friend, Sal said. Still alive? How disappointing. We're just trying to reach the extraction point, Tae-ho said. There's room for all of us to qualify. Perhaps, Sal replied, but fewer competitors in the final round means better odds for me. The champion raised what looked like a weapon. Yun pushed Tae-ho aside as energy crackled past them. Run! Yun shouted. They sprinted across the rocky terrain as Sal and his ally pursued. The insectoid was incredibly fast, quickly gaining ground. Split up, Tae-ho called. Meet at the next ridge. Yun veered left while Tae-ho ran right. The insectoid followed Tae-ho while Sal went after Yun. Tae-ho's lungs burned. His legs ached. The insectoid was only feet behind him when the ground suddenly gave way. Both of them tumbled down a steep slope into a pit filled with thick, tar-like mud. The insectoid thrashed wildly, its multiple limbs becoming more tangled. Tae-ho remembered his Earth survival training. Stay calm in quicksand, spread your weight, move slowly. He lay back, spreading his arms and legs to distribute his weight on the surface. While the alien sank deeper, Tae-ho slowly moved toward the edge. After what seemed like hours, his fingers found a root. He pulled himself free, covered in black mud but alive. The insectoid was not so lucky. It had sunk to its neck, mandibles clicking in panic. Tae-ho knew he should leave it. The alien had tried to kill him, but something in him couldn't walk away. Using a long branch, he created a makeshift rope and extended it to the sinking alien. After hesitation, it grabbed on. Tae-ho pulled with all his strength until the alien reached solid ground. The insectoid stared at him with compound eyes. Why help enemy? Because humans don't leave sentient beings to die if we can help it, Tae-ho answered. Without another word, the alien scuttled away. Tae-ho found Yun hiding in a small cave, injured but alive. Sal has gone ahead, Yun said. He plans to ambush others at the extraction point. With only 12 hours left, they pushed on through the harsh landscape. Tae-ho's body ached with each step. His skin was burned from the suns and etched with acid rain marks, but he kept moving. Finally, they reached the ridge overlooking the extraction zone, a circular platform surrounded by defense shields. 6 contestants had already arrived. Others were approaching from different directions. "There's Sal," Yun pointed. The champion had positioned himself on an overlook, weapon ready. "He's picking off contestants before they reach safety," Taeho said, watching as Sal fired at a distant figure who collapsed. "What do we do?" Yun asked. Taeho studied the terrain. "There's a ravine that circles around behind his position. If we can get there without being seen, it will take too long," Yun said, checking the countdown. "Only 8 hours remain." "Then we'll have to be quick," Taeho replied. As acid rain began to fall again, they made their move. Acid rain burned Taeho's skin as he and Yun crept through the narrow ravine. Every few minutes they heard the crack of Sal's weapon and a cry of pain from some unlucky contestant. "We must hurry," Yun whispered. "Only 7 hours remain." They climbed the steep rocks behind Sal's position. The champion was so focused on targets below that he didn't notice them approach. Just as they were about to reach him, a rock slipped under Taeho's foot. Sal spun around, weapon raised. "The human. I knew you would survive somehow." "Put the weapon down, Sal," Taeho said. "This isn't what the arena is about," the champion laughed. "You know nothing of the arena, human. It's about proving superiority. By cheating? By ambushing others? By winning," Sal growled. "No matter the cost." He fired at Taeho, who dove behind a rock. The energy blast melted stone where he had stood. Yun attacked from the side, but Sal knocked the smaller alien away with one powerful arm. "Your friendship with this weak creature proves humans don't belong here," Sal said. "The strong survive alone." As Sal raised his weapon again, the ground suddenly shook. The acid rain had weakened the cliff edge. Rocks began to break away beneath Sal's feet. The champion tried to jump to safety, but too late. With a roar, he fell as the ledge collapsed. His weapon clattered near Taeho's feet. Taeho looked over the edge. Sal clung to a rock 20 feet, down, his forearm straining. "Help me, human," the champion called. Taeho remembered the insectoid he had saved earlier. He could leave Sal to fall. No one would blame him. Instead, he grabbed a length of rope from his pack. "Yun, help me secure this." Together, they lowered the rope to Sal. The champion looked surprised but grabbed it. With great effort, they pulled him to safety. Sal stood, breathing hard. "Why would you save me? I tried to kill you." "Because that's what humans do," Taeho said simply. For a moment, Sal seemed speechless. Then he nodded slowly. "You are strange, human, but perhaps worthy after all." Together, the three of them made their way to the extraction point. As they stepped onto the platform, the counter on Taeho's wrist showed just 2 hours remaining. Beam of light surrounded them, and suddenly they were back on the Nexus. Medical teams rushed forward. Taeho saw that only 12 contestants had survived the Death World Challenge. Ju-Ri ran to him. "You made it!" She hugged him tightly, then stepped back in shock. "And you brought Sal with you?" Before Taeho could explain, Arbiter Nex approached. "Contestants, you have passed the 3rd challenge. The final contest begins tomorrow, one-on-one combat." That evening, the Nexus buzzed with excitement. The human who had entered as a joke was now one of 12 finalists. Mina showed Taeho video feeds from Earth and human colonies. "You're a hero to every human in the galaxy," she said. "They're calling you the Legend of Earth." Taeho shook his head. "I'm just a maintenance engineer who got lucky." "It wasn't luck," said a new voice. Captain Lee entered with Dr. Seo. "It was human adaptability, the very quality aliens underestimated." Dr. Seo nodded. "The combat tournament will be difficult. Each match is designed to test different skills. Your first opponent is from the Swarm." "The Swarm?" Taeho asked. "A hive mind species," Ju-Ri explained. "They think as one but fight as individuals. They're confused by human emotions. Use that." The next morning, Taeho entered an arena filled with thousands of spectators. Aliens of all shapes and sizes watched from the stands. A small section held humans, more than Tejo had ever seen on the Nexus. Human viewers demanded seats, Mina explained. And look, she pointed to where a large military ship was visible through the arena's clear ceiling. The first human warship allowed near the Nexus. Captain Hana Kim commands it. She came to support you. The tournament began with ceremony and speeches. Then Arbiter Nex called the first match. Tejo Kim of Earth versus Zex of the Swarm. Tejo stepped into the fighting ring. His opponent was tall and insect-like with a shimmering purple exoskeleton. As they faced each other, Tejo felt a strange pressure in his head. The Swarm trying to read his thoughts. I sense confusion, Zex said. Fear, but also determination. How do you function with such conflict? Instead of answering, Tejo attacked. The Swarm fighter was quick but seemed confused by Tejo's unpredictable movements. When Tejo feinted left but struck right, Zex hesitated. Your mind shows one path, but your body takes another, Zex said. This is troubling. Tejo pressed his advantage. That's human unpredictability. After 15 intense minutes, Tejo managed to pin his opponent. The crowd roared in surprise as Arbiter Nex declared, Winner, Tejo Kim of Earth. Tejo won his second match against a rock-like being who was slow but nearly impossible to push. Hurt. Next came the semifinals against a fighter from the Swarm's Royal Guard, stronger than Zex, but still confused by human emotions. As Tejo prepared for the final match, Junho visited him. I need to tell you something, his brother said. The government knew about your potential all along. What do you mean? Tejo asked. Your maintenance job was a cover. We've been watching you for years, noting your problem-solving skills and adaptability. When Ambassador Dahl challenged you, we saw an opportunity. You used me as a test subject? Tejo felt anger rising. We needed to show the galaxy what humans can do, Junho replied. And you've done that better than we hoped. Before Tejo could respond, Juri rushed in. Tejo, I found proof Sal is still using banned stimulants. His system is full of them. Show Arbiter Nex, Tejo said. I tried. He says it's too late to change the lineup. You'll face Sal in the final match. The arena was packed for the final battle. Thousands of aliens and every human on the Nexus watched as Tejo entered the ring. Across from him stood Sal, muscles bulging unnaturally, veins pulsing with blue light. Human, Sal growled. You saved me on the death world. For that, I will. Make your defeat quick. The bell rang. Sal moved with impossible speed, striking Tejo before he could react. Pain exploded in his ribs. Another blow caught his jaw, sending him sprawling. Tejo struggled to his feet. Sal was too fast, too strong. The drugs made him nearly unstoppable. Fight smart, he heard Captain Lee call from the sidelines. Use what makes you human. As Sal charged again, Tejo remembered what Juri had discovered about Sal's species. They had tremendous burst strength but poor endurance. Their muscles built up toxins during extended activity. Tejo changed tactics. Instead of trying to match Sal's strength, he focused on dodging, making the champion work harder. Minutes passed. Sal's attacks grew wilder as frustration set in. Stand and fight, Sal roared. I am fighting, Tejo replied. Just not your way. By the 10th minute, Sal was breathing hard. The blue glow in his veins pulsed erratically. The drugs and toxins were affecting him. Tejo saw his chance. He ducked under Sal's swing and struck the champion's knee, the weakness Juri had identified. Sal stumbled. Tejo hit the same spot again. With a cry of pain, the champion fell. The crowd went silent as Tejo stood over his fallen opponent. He could end the match with one more strike. Instead, he stepped back and looked at Arbiter Nex. He's down, it's over. After a moment of stunned silence, the arena erupted in cheers. Humans jumped and screamed. Even many aliens applauded. Winner and champion of the Galactic arena, Tejo Kim of Earth. As medics rushed to Sal, a tall, shadowy figure appeared beside Arbiter Nex. It was unlike any alien Tejo had seen, translucent and shifting as if made of light and darkness mixed together. The observer. whispered voices in the crowd. The figure raised a hand and the arena fell silent. For millennia, I have watched the arena, it said in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere. It serves a purpose beyond entertainment. It tests species' worthiness for greater knowledge. The observer turned toward Tejo. Humans have proven themselves decades before we expected. Your adaptability, creativity, and compassion, even toward enemies, show readiness for the next level of galactic citizenship. Ambassador Dahl pushed forward. This is one human. His victory means nothing. He represents the potential of his species, the observer replied, as all champions do. Later, at a ceremony honoring the contestants, Ambassador Dahl approached Tejo stiffly. The Viridian held out a small golden token. The Council's token of respect, Dahl said, not meeting Tejo's eyes. You have earned it. Tejo accepted the token with a nod. After the ceremony, Tejo stood with Juri on an observation deck, looking out at the stars and Earth's distant sun. What will you do now? She asked. They've offered you any position you want. Tejo smiled. I think I'll stick with maintenance for now. Keeping things running is what I do best. Even after becoming a legend? Especially after that, he said. Legends need to remember where they came from. Across the galaxy, in hidden chambers and distant worlds. Aliens reviewed recordings of the human who entered the arena as a joke and left a legend. They began preparing their champions for the next tournament, knowing that humans were now contenders in the great game of the galaxy. But none of them fully understood what the observer had seen in Tejo's victory. Not just physical prowess or mental agility, but the uniquely human ability to turn weakness into strength and enemies into allies, qualities that would change the galaxy forever.